We're gonna do a song that you never heard before. The volume.
Here they come and get wicked. Here we go again.
Hey, it's Kennedy, my brother from another mother.
What's good, bro?
We is back at it. Super Bowl Friday, Sunday coming on up, man. I meant to ask you. I know that you said you whipping up a couple things. Are you having a formal Super Bowl party?
Nah. If anything, Safari and Samaya and them and Levante should be coming through. Other than that, it's just the fam. I ain't doing nothing big like that. I just, I always keep it a little festive when we get together and do some stuff. So for the Super Bowl, they know how I get down.
Yeah. Listen, I meant to ask you though, bro. Are you at all excited about the Rihanna Super Bowl performance?
Not really.
No, what's up with that?
Well, here's the thing. There's no excitement for me. What I'm saying is I'm always excited to see what the halftime show brings. But I'm just saying, as far as like it being Rihanna, that doesn't move the needle for me. It could have been Bruno Mars again. And so I think the only way that I would have been just like, there's so many other artists I would have preferred to see. But again, no disrespect to Rihanna. I'm excited. I want to see what she brings. This is kind of like a reentry for music for her, for a lot of people. So I'm not disappointed. I'm just saying I'm not just like overly excited.
Have seen that at the awards, or not the awards, but the halftime show.
You said what now?
Who would you have rather seen who hasn't performed?
I don't know. I think I would have preferred to see like a B2K reunion at the halftime show, because the thing is, for me, I think a show like it's going to be a lot of dancing. It's going to be a lot of choreography. The thing is, it's a Super Bowl, so 9 times out of 10 you don't really have to sing. So we know from the verses that Omarion really ain't like that. But I think for the Super Bowl, that his lip singing ability would have worked out well. And I just think that they're universal enough to where people know their songs, that it would have been pretty big.
I think if we're gonna go reunions, so if we're gonna do reunions, I would probably say I would rather see NSYNC and Backstreet Boys both do their reunions. But I would probably say, to be quite honest with you, I wouldn't mind seeing a whole Usher set, since Usher has his residency in Vegas. He has a full ready to go set. And I think that Usher has enough pop crossover as well, to where it ain't something like where it's like all just stuff for black folks. I think that Usher has that universal appeal. And I think that having Usher going out there, I think that Usher can do a pretty dope halftime show, bro.
No. That's 100% the best choice. When you put me on the spot to say people that hadn't performed, that's what I thought of immediately. Because even when you said NSYNC, right? Justin Timberlake performed at the halftime show, which is why I wouldn't have said that. I'm gonna be honest, I wouldn't even mind a New Kids on the Block.
Oh, that would be fire. I think what would be real dope is if they would have just if they did a reunion of all the groups. So
98 Degrees, Backstreet Boys,
NSYNC. Even if you want to go back as far as you can go, I would even go Destiny's Child. I would go what was the girl? What was the name of them girls over in England? That was
Spice Girls.
Spice Girls. Have all like a group's boy band, and pop girl band reunion as the theme of the whole thing, though, bro.
Yep. Jay-Z holler at us, bro. We got all the ideas over here.
Hey, we make it happen, though, man. Let's get that music going, bro.
Yes, sir.
It doesn't matter what your name is.
Slash Brothers Podcast, the greatest podcast of all time. The Slash Brothers Podcast, the greatest podcast.
If you smell what the rock. It doesn't matter what your name is.
Slash Brothers Podcast, the greatest podcast of all time.
Yep.
Listen, if you haven't already, be sure to like and subscribe to the Slash Brothers YouTube and Facebook pages. Since we go live on both platforms at the same time, you click on that bell and you get the notifications whenever your boy's name is doing a thug fizzle. Hey, Kennedy.
What's up, bro?
Hey, you know what I think is interesting, right? Before we start to get into these things, this just so happened to have popped up while we've been on here. So here's what I think is crazy. So I saw that SZA is winning Woman of the Year musically for Billboards. Now it's still only 2023, but I think that they mean like they do it based off of the latter half of 2022 or all the way through though. So I'm pretty sure it's a full calendar year though, basically though, man. But I think that's pretty dope. What's wild about it, bro, is I meant to ask you though, bro. Have you listened to SZA's album?
I've tried twice. I'm still halfway through it. Sonically, it sounds different, meaning that when I say sonically, there's, for instance, you and I do studio stuff and we try to match our sound with the industry. It seemed like she shifted something in her voice just a little bit. Like there's a different effect or something that's on her voice. Nothing wrong with that. I'm always down for people moving music forward, but and there's nothing wrong with the album. I just haven't been in the headspace to really completely listen to it. I mean, I see there were some albums that dropped today that I wanted to check out, but the boy Eric Bellinger dropped today. I forgot who else I saw, but all I'm saying is that I just haven't been in the headspace to listen to full albums in artist mode, and I'm just like I'm piecing together stuff in my head, so just trying to stay focused, so to speak.
I think that what's interesting about it though, man, is that it's kind of weird because maybe it's just timing of where I'm at, where my ears are musically, where I was dying for a SZA album to come out, and now that it's out, I haven't listened to it at all. Like it's weird too, man, because I think that I would want to get into a space where I can listen to it comprehensively, like from start to finish, basically though, because I think that I've always thought that a lot of her songs, because she's a songwriter, right? I think that to me it's like especially when I get into that space of the kind of R&B, I'd want to listen to it to see how one song goes to the next song and how that impacts the fourth song, fifth song, and everything. So I think I just haven't listened to it just because of that. But I think that what's also crazy to me though, bro, is that like one of the things that I just noticed today is somebody was like, yo, so y'all just gonna not talk about how different SZA has looked since she came on out though, bro, and people are like implying that she got like some plastic surgery done to her face and got this and that, because I'm thinking like, bro, she's been heavy on the thirst traps for probably about the last year. But I think that what's been crazy about it is that, you know, she's already said before that she has some weight loss, because she kind of mentioned, I remember in an article a long time ago that she was saying that she used to be a heavier girl though, man. When I say heavier girl, she was just like over, I want to say, I think it was like, she said 180 or something like that though. So she was, what most people would see plus size. So when she lose weight, the first thing you want to do is wear the skinny people stuff and do this whatever though, man. But I think it's pretty crazy because I think that I saw somebody online start to point out that her whole appearance looks different. Her nose looks a whole lot different. Her chin looks a whole lot different. Like she almost looked like she's like a whole different person. Never even paid attention to it like that though, bro. Crazy.
No, and no disrespect to SZA, but I couldn't pick her out like that. Like I know who. What I'm saying is that you could put SZA, you could put Kalani, you could put those people in a row, and again, no disrespect to them, but I'm saying like I just don't follow them like that. I listen to their music, and of course I've saw some of the Instagram stuff, but I'm just saying like not really like what I'm saying. If you put Laura London in front of me, Ashanti, something like that, that's easy. But for them, I don't. It's just the same with some of the newer artists. You could put some of the newer artists in front of me, and I couldn't recognize them like that either.
So they haven't been famous long enough for you to recognize their face,
essentially, or not necessarily. They're not famous enough. Maybe I'm just not in the know enough to pay attention to them like that.
So that's interesting you say that because SZA's been out since like 2014.
I know.
And you said that even after almost 10 years, her face just isn't. Okay, let's take a step back because her album came out. The Control album came out in 2017. So we're talking about 6 years now. So in 6 years, 6 years after I could spot Nicki Minaj or Cardi B out, in the drop, anybody, right?
Mm-hmm.
What is it to me? Then is it just that? Like, is it that they haven't been out? Like, what is up with their look that doesn't connect?
I don't think they have been out there like that. Meaning that I knew Cardi before I knew Cardi's music. I knew Nicki before I knew Nicki's music. So what I'm saying is, I'm gonna be honest. The stuff that SZA's been putting on, like her latest project is probably the most promotion I've seen from her.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like with the updated photo shoots and stuff like that. But again, I'm not looking at her face right now.
I'm gonna tell you, I think that one of the things that I think that's different. So Kalani is a whole lot different, right? Because I love me some Kalani. I think that it is funny, dude, because I do compare these two a lot. They have a lot of similarities, right?
Now,
Not sonically, but musicianship wise, I compare the two a lot.
Is Kalani the one with the tattoos and stuff?
Yeah. So Kalani to me is always like to me, she's more recognizable because of the tattoos. But here's the thing I can say though, right? I think that one of the things that is a lot different is that I think that from my understanding, because I've been following, let's just say from even an Instagram perspective and just interest in the music. So I think that I've been a big fan of SZA from the time she came on out. So I have, right, been interested in her like that. I think the one thing that is different, quite different for some reason, is that, and I wonder if this is something that's a Black artist thing, right? Here's where I'm gonna go with the comparison. But what I don't know is that I don't know that Kehlani and SZA have been marketed as sexy enough for you to remember their face in that regards, right? Because you think about that, like, you said Nicki Minaj, right? Nicki Minaj, you even though I think that when you saw Nicki Minaj the first time when she was on the Young Money stuff, I knew Nicki Minaj, I knew her face, I knew the face was a star, right? I knew the same with Beyonce, the same could be said with Rihanna, and it was instantly ingrained. But I think also to help support that, I think that they've always been marketed as a sexy star. And I don't necessarily know that SZA has been put out there in that regards. And so I think that her look could get lost in the shuffle, right, real easily. And what's interesting is that the flip side of that, though, right, is when you think of like a Billie Eilish, right? I don't think that she's necessarily marketed in the same way. So it's like, but you could pick her out in a lineup very easily, though, right? So it's like it's weird. I just wonder if she is suffering from not being positioned as a sex symbol the way some of the other superstar female artists have been.
Well, this is the comparison though, right? I can pick her out because her has been marketed
That's
more.
true.
Like and she's definitely not in the sexy category.
I think she's very sexy though.
No. You're missing what I'm saying.
I see what you
Marketed
mean, though.
as sexy. What I'm saying is she's very beautiful, but I'm saying she ain't out here. She ain't got the titties out.
Her music isn't suggestive either. So that's the reason why.
Right. So what I'm saying is, like I said, Scissor, the reason I know about this album is the new marketing that they did for this project.
Yeah.
But again, though, it's still not a very recognizable face. What I'm saying is that if you put a couple of people in front of me, I still wouldn't know who is who that way.
Really, bro? I think I'm not saying that I don't believe you. I'm just kind of in disbelief that SZA she's had the #1 album on Billboard for 7 weeks, going on 8 weeks, and you couldn't, if she moved next door to you, you wouldn't know that was SZA.
Wouldn't know.
No way, bro.
Being honest, bro.
I don't know what it is about SZA. It's weird though, man. I listen, man. I think that it's weird to me because to me, what I think is funny to me is that I think that she has a very girl next door look to me. It seems like to me that every time you come across her, she can roll out of bed and whatever. If you think she's a 10 or a 9 or 8, wherever you put her on the scale, she seems like she's that around the clock, and it doesn't take very much. Now, if you can. She may seem like she might be an 8, right? But then when you dress it up, that's boom 10, right? Whereas to somebody else just might roll out the bed and they 10, right? It's weird though, man. But I always wondered that though, man, about SZA because and it could also be because maybe there are some gaps between her albums. I think that she put out that last album in 2017, and while she's rode the wave of that last album success, it still took her quite some time before this next project came on out. So I think that it's almost like, all right, out of sight, out of mind a little bit, but I don't know.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
It just wasn't very. I just looked her up and just again, not very.
Don't know her just by looking at her like that, huh?
No, couldn't have pulled it up, bro.
That's crazy. Now, what I think is also interesting about that is that in that same Billboard, so just so that you're aware, right? Previous Women of the Year recipients were Olivia Rodrigo, Cardi B, Billie Eilish, Taylor Swift, Lady Gaga, Ariana Grande. So it's not like it's a pretty big deal. Like, I mean, for the women who've received it, they've all been some pretty heavy hitters, though, man. Also, in that same little awards, basically, Lotto is going to receive the Powerhouse Award as well, though, man. It's a pretty big distinguished award as well, though, man. So I think it's a pretty good look for her, though, man. I think, like I said, doing a lot of big things, though, bro. But I hear a lot about her album, though, bro, and I just for some reason haven't. It's been out for almost 2 months, and I haven't even listened to it at all.
Yeah, I've listened. Like I said, I've listened to probably 8 songs.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you this, though. So, speaking of Billboard, though, right? So, musically, right? Billboard just recently, this is the 50th anniversary of hip hop. So, we saw that the big montage of hip hop performances at the Grammys, which I think was probably one of the doper moments. But then they also put out their list, the all-time best rappers of all time, and this is basically the GOAT list according to Billboard. Now, what I think is interesting about their list is that their criteria, they said that they didn't include, they only basically included Americans. So I don't know how Drake was even included, but they didn't include. They said it excluded like Slick Rick and hip hop artists from other countries, right? And I think that maybe because Drake, even though he's Canadian, he kind of registers as American. I think we all typically associate him in that way, but it didn't include like reggaeton artists. So you toss out Daddy Yankee, you toss out the possibility of even Pitbull, basically. Though.
What about
So
Bad
they
Bunny?
had Bad Bunny as well, because I think that Bad Bunny is still considered, reggaeton. Which I told you, man, when I was in DR and that Bad Bunny came on, they went crazy on there, and I could not. I mean, I was blown away though, bro. I didn't know a single word, but I knew that it was him, and I knew that the people was going crazy though, bro. But I think that what's crazy to me about that though, bro, is this list. They basically said that this list was based off of impact on the culture, which I think is one that's a subjective thing, right? That's where you kind of get into that choice. But then you also had it based off of certification. So it's like, all right, these people got platinum. You got some awards, basically. You got the hardware, but then you also got some records. You got units and everything like that. And so there are different, levels throughout this particular list of people who maybe your impact on the culture weighed more than somebody's record sales or vice versa. But they also incorporated best flow into it. With that being said, though, bro, let me give you the top 10. I want to get your opinion about this. So, top 10, number 1, Jay-Z, Hove the God. Number 2, which I've never seen a number 2. I've seen this person on a Mount Rushmore list. Number 2, Kendrick Lamar.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Number 3, Nas. Number 4, Pac. Number 5, Eminem. Number 6, Biggie. Number 7, Wayne. Number 8, Drake. Number 9, Snoop Dogg. And number 10, Nicki Minaj. What's out of order on there to you? Or did they get it right?
I like the Jay-Z Kendrick.
Okay, that's different.
And then
So I'm gonna tell you again. Let me tell you. Think about it. Jay-Z, Kendrick, Nas, Pac, Eminem, Biggie, Wayne, Drake, Snoop Dogg, Nicki Minaj at number 10.
I definitely wouldn't have Nas as high. Nas would probably Nas would be probably before Snoop, and then Snoop then Nicki. Yeah,
You would have Nas ahead of Snoop still.
yeah.
Okay.
Even though now, if you talking about my personal list, Nas probably wouldn't even be in my 10. You know what I'm saying?
Now, get this though. Get this. This is where I think that there's a lot of controversy here, right? Number 11, Kanye West.
No.
Number 12, Andre 3000. Number 13, Rakim. Number 14, LL. Number 15, J. Cole. 16, Scarface. 17, 50 Cent. 18, Ice Cube. 19, Missy Elliott. 20, Big Daddy Kane.
See, some of them people I don't even listen to, so that's what I'm
saying. See, let me tell you what I think. Let me tell you, this is what I think. I think there's okay. I think that Eminem is way too high. I told you I don't have Eminem in my top 5. I might not have Eminem in my top 10. Right? I don't have Nas in my top 5 anymore, but I can respect that these people, it seems like they may have had a mixed generation putting this together, right? Because some of the people that they have on here are fairly younger, right? So what I appreciate that I never even considered, I love Kendrick Lamar, and I think that Kendrick Lamar right now might be the best rapper alive, aside from me, of course. Me and Kendrick, 1A, 1B, whatever you want to call it, right?
Hey, even over Jay-Z, that's crazy.
Yeah, Jay-Z's semi-retired though, bro. Jay-Z
ain't semi-retired.
Okay, so
Still
so if Jay-Z's still rapping, if you include Jay-Z, then all right, I'm 1C. One of us, take your pick. But anywho, I think that what's crazy though, man, is that I as much as I like Kendrick, and I do think that Kendrick is this generation's best rapper. So I do like Kendrick more than I like I do like Kendrick's rapping more than I like Drake's rapping, right? And while I like Wayne, I think I like Kendrick's rapping more than I like Wayne's rapping, right? Just rapping ability, right? But with that being said, though, I never would have considered that. Okay, what I appreciate about this list is that it does have some little jewels that say, listen, this is 50 years of hip hop. Like, you got to start to reevaluate and redo these lists, and you can't just hold on to the whole Jay-Z, Biggie, Nas as the top four or these traditional top fives. Like, I think that now that you have some of these new artists like Wayne, not new artists, but younger artists who came in halfway through hip hop. I mean, I think that now they're contributing more to the culture of hip hop. So that's why I think that, some people are holding on to the Nas being number 3 in terms of nostalgia. Now, Nas is doing a lot to me, I think, to recontribute with his recent catalog with the stuff with Hit Boy. But I think that even the fact of having Biggie at number 6, I think that now people are starting to look at Biggie and think, okay, well, Biggie, with all due respect, you had a huge influence on hip hop, but you had 2 albums, right? And I can't let you dying and not fulfilling your full potential that everybody loved. I can't let that hold back me ranking Kendrick above you just because I may personally like you more. So I at least respect that in this particular list, bro, that they do have a bunch of fairly younger artists, people of our age, our generation, that are alive and still actively doing music listed in the all. I mean, think about it. This is only 50 people in the entire United States, right? 50 million people. And these are the 50 people that they're saying these are of all time. I think that there's something to be said for someone who's still actively doing music, right? Bun B, for example, made the list. Snoop Dogg still made the list. I mean, it's still actively doing music. I think it says something that you're actively doing music and regarded by someone as a greatest to ever do it, though, bro. I think that's incredible.
I do too, but I just don't like the list, bro. I don't like. It's
I
just
love
not,
lists.
I hate them, like, because it's so subjective. And my thing is, I don't get upset or happy when somebody is on the list or not on the list. I mean, I think it's always cool to be recognized, but they just mean nothing to me, bro.
And I'm gonna be honest with you, because we're talking about greatest rappers of all time. I love Missy, but I think that they got her entirely too high at 18, bro. At 18, like, I love Missy's music, right? And if you just remove her R&B and you only focus on her writing, right? She got some hits from rapping, right? Hit records and rapping, but I think her R&B was so heavy that I think that it almost took away from her being the MC. And so I think that her at 18 is very high. I think that one of the
How is
things,
that the case? How is that the case when Drake is just right there and he do the
well,
same thing?
well, I think that where Drake comes into play is that Drake emphasizes the rapping more than he does the singing. He does sing on his stuff, but I think that he's a rapper that sings. I think Missy is a singer that raps.
So is Dre on the list?
Dr. Dre?
Yeah.
No, Dr. Dre's not on the list. You know who? This is the thing that who I think that I'm tired of people disrespecting my dude. Right? I'm tired of seeing, and let me just double check here. What I'm tired of seeing, though, bro, I'm tired of seeing Big Boy from Outkast not be included on these lists, though, bro. On these all-time lists, these top. because I personally think that some of the people that they got on this list, like they got Rick Ross on here at number 50. I think Rick Ross is rated way too low on here based off of the criteria, right? Like to me, I think it's one thing when you have a list. I think it's another when you make your criteria specified, right? So you know what's going off of. So based off of that, I think that Rick Ross at number 50 is too low. And that puts him in the company of the 41 to 50. E40 is number 41. Redman 42, Bun B 43, Queen Latifah 44, Ice-T 45, Jadakiss 46, MC Light 47, Melly Mel 48, Rev Run 49, and then Rick Ross. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I respect the company of the 40s, but I just think that Rick Ross, and they got Future at 35. So I don't know, man. Big Boy from Outkast should be on here, and I probably would put Big Boy somewhere in the 40s if I made him. Gucci Mane is on here at 38.
Is Mystical on there?
Mystical is not on the list, bro. Mystical is not on the list. And actually, I take that back. I stand corrected. Dr. Dre is on the list. He's at number 40.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like when you I guess writing the raps doesn't have any criteria on there.
Maybe. So that's the reason why. So it's funny you say that, because here's the thing I wonder. Based off of that, and you said that writing the raps, right? If I'm making an all-time list, I got to be honest with you, bro. In an all-time list, if we're talking about just rapping, right? Rapping, and if we're talking about or artists, right? I wouldn't put Kanye West in my top 15 if we were talking about just rappers.
Right. And that's part of it. And that's what I'm saying. Like I said, to me, the goalpost is gonna move entirely wherever you want to move it. And so that's why I'm just like, this means nothing to me, bro. Like,
impact on culture, I get that Kanye. So if you're saying, okay, if you were assigning a scale here, okay, here we go. If you were assigning a number, a weighted threshold, right, to every rapper, and you said, okay, let's go with this person's flow and delivery. We give this person a 9 for flow and delivery, right? Or we give this person a 7 for flow and delivery. But his certifications, right? He went 10 times platinum, so we got to give him. He went diamond. We got to give him a 10 on that, right? But then on this impact of culture, he might have a 4, right? So overall, he might come out at a weighted score, an average of 7, right? If you had a numerical system that you could apply, I think that would be a fair way. But then the question is, well, how do you then assign the individual thresholds, right? And that's what makes it subjective. But I think that overall, they got a lot of people that are high on here that I don't think has had that heavy of an influence on the culture, that I think other people who have probably would rate them higher. At least me personally, if I was having these conversations. So
yeah. Like I said, I definitely would. I don't listen to hip hop like that, but it would definitely be more preference for me than it would be a criteria.
Yeah. Hey man, in the wee hours of the night, apparently, I wake up in the middle of the night the other day, and I get text messages from you. My notifications is going on. I actually have my notifications set up to where they don't go off when I'm asleep, right? Only my text messages do, right? So I wake up, find out that KD then got traded to the Suns, though, bro. Yeah. Breaking news, and it's been covered all over the NBA and ESPN, Fox Sports News ever since then, though, bro. What are we doing? What are we doing, bro?
Nothing, man. I think that it's a good move for Kevin. The experiment in the Nets didn't work. And to be honest, I think the Nets need to get away from trying to bring superstars there. This is the second time they've tried that experiment and it didn't work. And honestly, I watched them play the other day with the new cast. Not everybody was played, but Spencer Dinwiddie was out there, and them boys look great.
Didn't look bad at all, bro.
No,
Didn't look bad, bro.
and my hat was off to Jock Vaughn. I think that he has them believing in defense. You can tell that they do, and they believe in themselves, man. I don't think they're gonna win the championship, but I definitely think they're gonna maintain in the playoffs. And I think that Brooklyn should just be like one of those teams that does like Boston did, right? We didn't know who Jason Tatum was. We didn't know who Jaylen Brown, them all them boys like home grew in Boston and did their thing. And I think that's what the Nets need to do is turn their pieces into stars that way organically versus trying to get a superstar in and building around them. I think that experiment for them is they've tried it twice and it didn't work.
So here's where I think that here's the dilemma that I think that Brooklyn runs into and have run into. So I think that the problem with Brooklyn is that you gotta tank, right, in order for that to happen, right? You gotta be really sorry, or you gotta really or finesse some other team the way that you got finessed. Let's take a step back. I'm gonna tell you what I mean. So the Hawks, right? The Hawks have been when you are in that middle of the pack where you are the 8 seed, 7 seed, like that 9 seed, you're not completely trash, but you're good enough to make the playoff, get put out in the first round. But then you're not so trash to where you don't get one of those high draft picks to get one of those generational players, right? And I think that it's different when you get like the Celtics. The Celtics, they finessed the mess out of the Nets because them Jason Tatum and the Jaylen Brown, those two picks turned out to be the old picks that I believe from when they did trade it, Kevin Garnett and all them boys on out there, right? But I think that what Brooklyn was looking to do was to say we got to have some kind of breakthrough, right? We're a playoff team that can't get over the hump, but we need superstars to get over there. And I think that the big thing is that how long do you want to be kind of dwelling in the dweller? I mean, in the bottom tier before you go, because all of the teams do it, right? The Grizzlies were terrible, then they got Ja Morant, and that was just what they needed. The Hawks have been that team for 15 years now, though, and it just takes a lot of it's hit or miss, though, man. So I can understand why they were trying to do it, because it's hard to make it work, though, man. But if you can buy it, that's the one thing you can do, right? You can not to say you can pay for it, but you can toss enough money at a player to make him come over to you, but you can't make that player a superstar by drafting them. That's the biggest thing.
No, but what I'm saying is, right, they got a bunch of guys on their team right now who are people would be like, these are a bunch of role players, right?
Bunch of role players.
Right. But I think that with good coaching, that these role players can win a lot of games. I don't know, like I said, that they can win the championship, but I think that what presently constructed, if they got some 3-point shooting, they got some defense, they got some people that's got some heart, they got some people that have won some things before. So I think that with the good coaching, I do think that they can do pretty well in the playoffs. But I don't know how they would stack up against like a Boston, how they would stack up against a Bucks team, but I definitely think they could beat a Miami.
I think this is the catch to that, right? The catch 22 to that is that, well, if you get this same team, right, how do you add to it to make this team a contender, right? So then you got to figure out, all right, you got to trade Ben Simmons, get him up out of there. But then somebody might take Ben Simmons, but then they might say, hey, you know what? We need to get Royce up off your hands, though, right? We need to get Dinwiddie off your hand, and then that starts to change that team. So it's like now you got this team that got the defensive role players on, and to add, you think about this. Here's a perfect example there, right? Let's just say if you add Paul George to this particular team, right? And you got Paul George, and let's say somehow you traded Ben Simmons, you add Paul George, you you have to give up Joe Harris or whoever, right? But if you were able to keep Spencer Dinwiddie, Paul George,
Seth.
Seth, well, you probably they're gonna ask for Seth though, bro.
Yeah, but I'm saying though, right? You also look who else is over there. Who is the Asian dude that's over there?
Wannabe or something like that.
Yeah, he's been shooting better
He's been
than
dropping them though, man.
yeah, he's been shooting better than your boy Harris, Joe Harris.
Joe Harris has been hurt for like 3 years now, bro.
He has. So what I'm saying is typically so you can afford to let a Joe Harris go when you got somebody who you've been building up.
Out of there. I don't have any problem at all with getting rid of Joe Harris. I mean, he ain't changing. Like this Joe Harris out here ain't changing nothing at all in life out there. So I think that from that regard, I'm cool. But I think that even this team, but then you start break team. It no longer looks the way it looks now, though. So yes, it's different. Yeah, but I did see the game though, and they look pretty solid though, bro.
I do want to see what Phoenix looks like, because it does take a little bit of time before people start gelling. And the fact that KD's hurt, Booker's still dealing with his injury, they got a ways away before they can start gelling. It ain't like just because we've all seen, huh?
Book's back. He been playing. He just got back out. He's like the first game, like
right. He's on limited minutes though, is what I'm saying. When I say he's still hurt.
Okay, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
I got a question for you. You know me, and I'm a list. We just said I'm a list person, and I always am thinking about the all-time list. I got a question for you. If KD, because here's the thing. Remember I told you, reading in between the lines. When that trade was announced initially, right, it was just, KD got traded. But then it came out after the fact today that Kevin Durant requested the trade specifically to the Suns, right? So my question is, does this further do his career and legacy any more damage if they don't win the championship?
No. Here's the thing.
Ooh.
Here's the thing. You pairing Kevin Durant with a very, very aged Chris Paul. So for me, the damage to Kevin Durant's career is already done with the Golden State trade. So, and that's so I give, like I told you, I take away the first championship. Anything after that, he can have it. And at the end of the day, he's a champion. So he's not going to be, at the end of the day, you still got to say champ to Kevin Durant. So at this point, no, it doesn't. Here's my thing. This is why I'm always going to ride with the players. I don't care whether a player requests a trade. I don't. Because the thing is that you look at like Cam Bridges, anybody that was involved in that trade that woke up and saw that they were traded in the middle of the night, right? Those dudes didn't request a trade, but the team just felt like, hey, you are part of the fodder. So for me, when players do have that power that they can demand a trade or want to go somewhere or can force their way to go where they want to go, I have no issue with that because when a team is ready to get rid of you, they will.
See, I think that so this is why I understand that completely. I think this is different though, right? So, like, here's what I mean by that. A perfect example that is the Lakers just wanted to get Russ and then just said, "Oh, it ain't working. We letting you go." Right? Surely now, if you can control that narrative, right? By all means, have it. But Kevin Durant did that, and so my thing is this, though, right? I think that it's certainly not helping his overall legacy and how the all-time, conversation will view him in the sense that you now have chose basically playing with Kyrie over playing with Steph and winning more rings. Fine if you think that in the grand scheme of things that you want to try to do it another way, right? But you also ran from that grind of OKC where you had Russ, a top 75 player, right? So you go to the you go to the Warriors, and then you win the rings, but you just felt like, all right, well, I'll never be accepted like Steph because he's homegrown. So I'm gonna go and pick Kyrie to play with. And then at the end of the day, it doesn't pan out. And you're Kevin Durant. You're top, you're a superstar. You got control over your career. So I think that when you did say, hey, all right, Kyrie's gone, right? They traded Kyrie. I think it would have been more respected by history, right? If KD stands down, stays in Brooklyn, and say, get me these guys. Let them join me and not me join them. So you say, get me Chris Paul, right? Get me the pieces, right? But I think that him joining another team to just be another guy, I think to me, it's almost like you're now looking to be the you of the Warriors, right? Like you're going back to be the same kind of guy that you had an issue with, right? That's the problem I have with KD. Like I don't, not that it matters to him, but I just thought that at the end of the day, winning a championship with you being the guy, that's different from you just being a guy on a championship team.
But that's the thing, though. The goal is to win a championship, not about the notoriety of what you're talking about. Like that's what I'm saying.
I think that the goal is to win the championship.
Right. So just the same way that LeBron James picks his teams, that's what all these other players are doing, is picking a team that they feel like gives them the best opportunity to win a ring.
You said it exactly right. LeBron James picks his teams and they build around him. So my thing is that when you're Kevin Durant and you're leaving, when you're the guy that they should build around, but when you go and you join, this is my thing though.
Charles, listen what you're saying though. LeBron chose to leave Cleveland. LeBron chose to leave Miami. Then LeBron chose to leave Cleveland, and then LeBron chose to go to LA.
This is my thing. But when LeBron chose to leave Cleveland and go to Miami, he went to Miami. He was the guy, right? He was the guy in Cleveland.
No, he went to join Dwayne Wade.
No, he didn't. Listen. He went to join Dwayne Wade to be the guy, the number one guy on that team. When he went back to Cleveland, when they had Kyrie, and he was the guy, then the guy. And when he went to LA, he was the guy that they built around. And I guess what I'm saying is
team is Phoenix team, because to me, when
it's
you have
Booker's team, it's Book's team. It's Book's team. And to me, this is my thing. It's to me, it's very clear that it's Book's team. Because Kevin Durant's going there. There's a reason why. I think, listen, Kevin Durant to me seemed like he's going there because the way he looks at it is that all he has to do now is just go score buckets. And that's fine, right? I think the biggest thing is that just because you're your team's best player doesn't mean that you necessarily have to be the leader, right? But when you come to that list, though, and you start to look at them all-time players, that does matter. And so I think that it does matter to me in terms of legacies of you going to Suns and you winning a ring versus them you staying in Brooklyn, them building around you and you getting the ring. All rings aren't equal to me. That's why when you say that ain't the goal to win a ring, it's a certain way to win a ring. And ring chasing ain't it.
Well, that's exactly why we see things differently, because Phoenix to me is Chris Paul's team. It's not Booker's team.
There's no way. Hey, there's no that to me definitely tells me we look at that differently. But I think that either way,
that's the thing though. We look at all of this differently because again, I am going to ride with the player at all times. I'm riding with the player.
This doesn't have anything to do with player versus organization.
It does because the reason why it does, because Kevin Durant is choosing to go to another team. Now, and here's the thing. This is where I'm going to be hypocritical about it because, again, Kevin chose to go to Golden State. And while I didn't agree with that decision, I still he is at a point in his career that he still gets that opportunity to do that. Pat Beverly didn't choose to go to Orlando. Pat Beverly didn't choose to leave the Rockets. Pat Beverly didn't choose to leave the Clippers. His choices are being chose for him. So while Russ, it didn't choose to get kicked off of LA. So right now, when you have the opportunity to be able to do that, by all means, do what you need to do. Because at the same time, at the end of the day, all of these squads are trying to build these super teams in order to win a championship.
You can't tell me right now, right, that if Pat Beverly, because you said, well, is it winning the ring all that matters? You can't sit here and tell me, right, that if Pat Beverly, right, if Pat Beverly now he'll be bought out if he wants to go to the Suns, now the KD's there, right, and they win a ring, that you looking at him like his ring is equal to Draymond's ring at the Warriors. It's not the same though, bro. You sack chasing, bro. And I think that this is my thing. I think my big thing is, I think that the knock on KD, and he had the opportunity to address this knock when he went to Brooklyn. Fine, if you want to leave Steph to go play with Kyrie and you win a ring because this is one that they built this around you and you were the driving factor around that, cool. I have no problem with that at all. But then when you don't do that successfully and you bail out on that plan to go join another team the same way we saw you do previously, yeah, it makes sense that, you know what I'm saying, Phoenix is favored to win, right? But at the same time, this to me, if they don't win, right, this would be like, I'm not going to say it's going to be the same because there are differences, but it would almost be similar if he went to the Golden State Warriors looking to get an easy ring and they didn't win it. It granted that Warriors team beat them and there was a 3-up, 3-1, all of the stuff though, man. But I think that Kevin Durant has to win a ring. I think that it doesn't do anything. It's not flattering for his overall legacy if he goes out here because he requested it, right? To go out here and join this man and they don't win the ring. Like that doesn't have anything to do with organization versus player.
But the same pressure that you saying that is the same pressure that's on James Harden. It's the same pressure that's on Kawhi Leonard and Paul George.
Absolutely.
It's the same pressure that's on LeBron and AD. So,
right.
But
it's different. But you want to know the difference though? The difference is, all right. Well, the difference is, right, is because the difference is this is more so almost like it's more closer to James Harden, right? Because I'm going to remove Paul George because only you thought Paul George was a 1A guy, right? But I think, and even to some degree, I can remove Kawhi Leonard. But I think that the big thing is this. It's just like James Harden in the sense of if you are who we thought you are, right? Then they build around you. But when you leave and you go to another team to just be another piece, right? Then you're a guy. He's going there to give them the scoring, though, bro. But I think that my thing is that he's going there to be the icing on the cake.
Yeah, but
he's not there to be the cake.
You say that like James Harden doesn't have to work in Philly. Like when he's going there to be another scorer, he's also being the second option over there.
He's not going there to be and that's the thing. He's barely even the second option. He's more like the third option. And that's the thing about James Harden. James Harden, to me, when he went to Philadelphia, James Harden conceded to me to say, I'm not that guy. I don't even want to be this is my thing. When I'm saying you're the guy, I'm saying when you don't win, you're the one that takes the blame, right? You're the pressure's on you to put it over the hump. And James
you mean to tell me when Phoenix loses, they're not gonna want to ask KD no questions. They only gonna want to ask Booker questions.
Booker has the answer for that. KD doesn't. Chris Paul has the answer for that. Unless KD goes out here and just has a nightmare of shooting, he just ain't making nothing. Yeah, then he will, right? Because the minute because they said, all right, well, KD, what we're looking for you is we're gonna give us the same 33 points that you would give on any team, right? But if you don't, you got to answer that. But if you say, well, why didn't y'all win the championship when you added KD? That's a conversation that To me, and that book has the answer. And you said you think that the team is Chris Paul's. So that's a Chris Paul question. But to me, I think that KD has a different conversation, right, than what they have on why they didn't win. It's just different. And I just think that I think that he's escaping the pressure of being the guy. He wants to be the best scorer, the best bucket getter, and not the guy.
Yeah, I still don't agree.
If he wins, he wins. But I think that you have to win it, though, bro. Like, he has to win it in the next 2 years to me. Like, the clock is on him, bro.
So the clock is on everybody.
No, it's especially on him, though. It's especially on him only because of this, right? Now, you went to the West. Think about this, though. We said it last week, right? That there's not a team in the West that's world beaters. Ain't nobody in the West like nobody's scared of. So I think that it's no coincidence that he picked going from the East to the West, because I think that road was going to be tougher. You got to go through Boston. You got to go through Milwaukee, right? You got to see at some point, you got to see what Miami is talking about. And I don't think that there's any teams in the West that anybody's scared of, but I think that he said, oh, you put me on that team, I think that we can wash everybody else. Yeah, it's no coincidence that he picked the Suns, bro. Like, it's hand picked. It's cherry picked, though, bro. They should win. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying we disagree on the perspectives of it, right? But I'm just saying I do agree that I am for players being able to take their destiny in control. But at the same time, you got to answer for that. And when you have that and you might think right now it's irrelevant, right, as a player. But when it comes to that all-time conversation, when those all-time greats start to talk about you, they're not gonna forget that, though, bro. And that's the reason why it hurt him so much when people call him when they say you ain't the bus driver, right? Them comments hurt that boy's soul, bro. That boy need to listen, man. That boy need holy water to rinse that off of him. That boy, KD took a bath in holy water to sleep good, to get that off his spirit, bro. And them comments burn. And he said, I don't care what he says, certain comments from certain players of a certain caliber just burn, bro. Hey, man, it's Friday, bro. Super Bowl, anything else for the weekend?
Nah, man. To be honest, we got Charlie's birthday party, and then the Prince's game, going to that. Okay. In the Super Bowl, bro. So ain't nothing. It's real quiet. It should be a real, even though there's a lot going on, it should be still a quiet week. What about you?
Listen, man. So I'm getting ready to head on out now to break bread with my in-laws, man. I ain't seen them in a month. They've been out in Colombia living their best life out there. And then, man. So the crazy thing is that I got a game on Super Bowl Sunday, bro. So I gotta fool around, and I don't know if I'm gonna play the game. I wind up messing up my hand, but I'm gonna at least go to the game, right? But I'm gonna try to play in the game with my hand taped up. But I think that what's crazy about it, I'm gonna have to go from the game, hustle back to the crib, right? Shower on up, slide. I might even see if the gym even has a shower though, bro. And take a shower there, man, and figure out something. But I'm gonna be humping it to get around there on Super Bowl Sunday though, bro. But it's gonna be crazy, but we're gonna make it work.
Yeah, you have that, brother. That sounds like
yeah. I gotta do it, man. Listen, we are playing against the team that's the number one team in this particular league. And every time we played them, we played them earlier and we lost to them by like 4 points. And at some point during the game, we were up by like as much as 5 or 6 points, though, man. And I just think that I think that them boys would. I think my team need me, though, man. So I gotta show up for them, though, bro.
I gotta go put the cape on.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I gotta do it, though, man. On that note, man, good luck at if you're having a Super Bowl party, tear that food on up. Make sure you get some extra toilet paper if you're hosting, because they're gonna be tearing them toilets on up too, though, bro.
Yeah, y'all be safe too. Make sure y'all get home, use them Ubers and Lyfts and all them other things.
Absolutely, man. Peace and love.
greatest podcast of all time. The Slash Brothers Podcast. The greatest podcast of all time.